Hi everyone, welcome to ChainBreaker. This is our 43 episodes. This is your host Max, and I'm here together with mrblock, Pan, and our lovely guests from Space and Time, Nate and Spencer. So today we will spend more time to let you guys know what exactly is space and time. So before we start, we want to remind you everything said today will not be taken as financial advice. And after this recording, we will upload everything on Spotify and give a written summary over Mirror as usual, and upload videos on our mrblock's YouTube channel. So I will give the mic to our hosts, mrblock and Pine first for a soft intro.
Hey guys, thank you, Max. Great to be here today, and to learn a bit something new. I myself has been in the crypto industry for quite a long time. Made over 700 YouTube tutorial video around blockchain, crypto, early farmer of Chainlink, and then later talk a lot about Filecoin, the Graph, BitQuery. So it's exciting to kind of look into the data analytic tool and kind of the decentralized data of what space and time is building. I'll pass it to Pun.
Yeah, thanks. Today we have a very special episode. I'm host, Pan. We are excited to have Nate and Spencer, the co-founder of the Space and Time team. I've heard about the project several months ago, and I've seen their pitch deck on Business Insiders about how they get 2 million round and led by Microsoft. But the architecture is pretty complicated to me, so today we will deep dive into that. But first, we want to know about yourself and what is space and time. Too long, don't read version. So I think Nate and Spencer can give yourself an intro and your project intro. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, hey, everyone, this is Nate Holiday, co-founder, CEO of Space and Time. I'm here with Spencer. Spencer, you want to say hi?
Hey, everybody. How's it going? Spencer Reeves here.
And we're really excited about this podcast. Thankful that we get this opportunity to talk about what we're building, and grateful for ChainBreaker for having us on the podcast, and look forward to spending the next little while together. Just at a high level, I'd like to say that I've been following the space as well for some time, and it's great to hear about Chainlink and the introduction as well. I've been working together with Chainlink for some time now. And as we started to get into the space, one of the things that really stuck out to me, I have 10 years of experience at a company called Teradata, which is a really large-scale publicly traded data warehousing company in the United States. But they have offices all over the world, and they do large-scale enterprise analytics and data warehousing. And as I started to get involved in the blockchain space and working with Chainlink and understanding kind of mass adoption of data, one of the things became pretty, evident to me was smart contracts and how limited they are in storage and compute. Meaning, if you think about all the complex business automation that sits in companies today, in applications, in enterprise companies, and in their data infrastructure, it's a large amount of data, but it's also complex business transformation and analytics that power all of those applications. And so if you think about the adoption of blockchain for the future, it requires the ability to be able to connect on and off-chain data at scale, and to be able to store a lot of data, do a lot of complex data computation, and then be able to take all of those analytics that you're doing in a database and be able to directly connect those to a smart contract in a decentralized, tamper-proof, verifiable way. And what I've described is what we're building. Space and Time is a decentralized data warehouse, meaning that it's a community of owner nodes where not a single resource or a single company owns all of those nodes, like you would see in a public cloud, for example, with Amazon or Google or Tencent or Microsoft or others. And so we're decentralizing this complex data business proposition called a data warehouse, which has been around for a while, but decentralizing that and making it transparent and tamper-proof is critical, because we need to start bringing all the use cases that we typically see in a regular business to the blockchain, interacting with smart contracts. So that's what we're building, and we're pretty excited about it.
Awesome. Thank you, Nate. Spencer, could you give us a quick intro about yourself and how you got into the space as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So Spencer Reeves here, head of marketing at Space and Time. I started working in traditional Web 2 marketing, and I worked for companies like Red Bull, Stab Magazine, Zed Inc. And after working in a more kind of traditional environment, I founded my own production company where we focused on brand content, brand strategy, go-to-market strategy, basically anything to get a brand off the ground or continue to maximize brand visibility through campaigns. And so was really excited to kind of bring that to Space and Time. I first got into crypto around 2018 and pretty much just started obsessing over DeFi, GameFi, and in the bull market just kind of like put a lot of my energy into AAA gaming. And, you know, I'm a big AAA gaming fan in Web 2. And so I'm really excited to kind of see where that takes us in Web 3. But yeah, met Nate, Scott through the grapevine, and we were just kind of serendipitously ready to make the jump to Web 3, and so excited to be here right now.
Got it. Thank you. So we'll kick off the event with the question. Nate, you mentioned earlier about some of the Web 2 data provider and so on. What would you say is kind of the main differentiation between a Web 2 and a Web 3 data provider?
Yeah, so Web 2 data providers and Web 2 business and analytic architectures were built in point solutions, meaning if you're going to start building a business, you look at the different types of applications you want to build, you look at the different types of customers that you're going to interact with, and you start to build point solutions from a database perspective and from a data perspective to meet the needs of the various customers. And what you have that was created was this really monolithic data infrastructure. And I'll just explain it at a high level. So, you see all of these companies today that are pushing all of their data to a cloud service provider. And what they're doing is they're taking all their centralized data from a data center, and now they're pushing it all to a centralized cloud service provider. But in order to do that, they need to hand over arguably the most valuable asset a company owns, which is the data. So now they're handing all that data over to a centralized cloud service provider. But if you look at customers, there's transactions that occur every day. Those sit in a siloed database. There's analytics about your customers that occur every day. Those sit in a different database. You need to be able to move data between databases all the time in a Web 2 service provider and a Web 2 architecture. So you need what's called ETL tools. And so you have to go purchase those. You have to determine what cloud you're going to be on and why. And then each one of these point solutions that I've described, you have to hire database administrators. You have to hire data analysts. You need to hire data scientists to start wrangling and managing that data. And what happens is you have silos of data all over a corporation. You have centralization of data all over a corporation. And now you have centralization of data in cloud service providers. And as we think about what's broken in Web 2 from a data perspective is each time you centralize data and you put disparate data in silos, it creates a tamperable environment where data can be manipulated, where data could be inaccurate, and it can drive kind of poor business decisions, but also, dangerous business, behaviors and decisions. And, if you just think about, just at a high level, you have a cloud service provider, a centralized provider that can determine what applications can run on their cloud. You have software providers that are, creating analytic software that are centralized, that have access and can manipulate and manage data. You then have corporations that are centralized, and then those corporations have employees that have access to all the data. And then, we always see things in the news with hackers, but a hacker is able to get into a centralized data architecture. Now they have, in a sense, keys to the kingdom to do what they want. And so it's a long answer, but the inverse of that is a decentralized data warehouse. It's a decentralized Web3 architecture. It's what everything is being built on the blockchain for. And what we're building is just that, the ability to have the enterprise scale and security of a data warehouse that can be directly connected to blockchain in a decentralized format with tamper-proof analytics that a single organization doesn't own. So there is a big difference between Web 2 and Web 3, and there's a reason why you would use, for example, a decentralized data warehouse in Web 3, whereas it'd be impossible to use the architecture that's being built in Web 2 to actually run a business in the future if you want it trustless and tamper-proof.
Got it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but for most people, when they view storage on blockchain, it usually has the issue of scalability. And when I look at like snowflakes, for example, I'm thinking terabytes, petabyte worth of information being stored. Are you building on a specific chain, or are you building your own blockchain to deal with scalability issue?
That's a great question. So we are not building our own blockchain, but data, space and time is a decentralized data warehouse, meaning you can store the data in terabytes and petabytes of size, just like you can Snowflake. The difference between, for example, a Snowflake and space and time is Snowflake only does the analytic processing. So the questions that you want to ask about your data, it doesn't do the transactional processing of data. And so as you think about bringing in, transactional analytics from the blockchain, analytics that you would typically see in Snowflake, space and time, you have the ability to do both in a single cluster, in a single environment, where you have the analytics that are occurring and that you're asking questions on, but you also have the transactional data. So, and it's really important in Web3 because if you think about gaming, Spencer talked about gaming earlier, you want to be able to ask what in-game events led to online transactions. The data sets that sit online on a blockchain and the data sets that sit offline from a game server are two different data sets, and having them in the same environment is really important. And so although space and time is not a blockchain, space and time has both proof of storage and proof of SQL, which is the proof of an actual query being run, to ensure that the data can't be manipulated directly within space and time because there has a secure auditable trail, and the actual cryptographic proof that delivers data to smart contracts is cryptographically guaranteed. So there is a big difference between an off-chain data warehouse and space and time, which is not a blockchain, but is truly decentralized, but also has cryptographic guarantees of the data within the database.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nate. Next one, I'd like to know something about the marketing things to Spencer. So what are the strategy while building a community in the bear market, and how has it been different? And by the way, what's your plan in 2023 to build a developer community?
Yeah, absolutely. So we definitely weren't anticipating on building a community in a bear market. And so right off the bat, I wouldn't say our strategy has necessarily changed because, since the inception of Space and Time, we've kind of been in what looked like a down market, So by the time we actually had substantial community members and, numbers on social channels, it had been quite obvious that, we were in a bit of a downtrend, regarding the market. But so it allowed us to do a few things. And one of the things that really, allowed me to kind of focus on was, something that gets overlooked in crypto a lot, which is this kind of just like brand identity, brand and founder story, market messaging and, internal operations, which are overlooked a ton in crypto, in my opinion. But we were really able to kind of just like garner an authentic, unorganic community when, in the bull market, there's just so much noise and, so many projects are getting funded and so many projects are just kind of like jumping out of, anywhere they can really. So I think, for us to kind of secure the funding that we did in this type of market really kind of just brought some light and authenticity to us. And with that, we were able to kind of garner, the remaining authentic and organic members and community members in crypto still, right? So, I mean, I don't have any numbers in front of me, but I could confidently say, crypto Twitter and, any crypto social, channel has probably decreased quite a bit, maybe a little bit more concerning, some really hectic news as of lately, but it really just allowed us to focus, which I think is a really, which actually I really enjoyed. It allowed us to cut through the noise and just really kind of focus on what we deemed important in our community. So as we kind of transition into like, how are we planning on developing and garnering a developer community? Well, I think you kind of have to unpack why a community member is coming to Space and Time. From a developer standpoint. And the answer is that there's a lot of answers because Space and Time is quite a big platform and we offer quite a lot of features. So, I mean, if you're a developer, are you coming to Space and Time because you have the blockchain network that we're indexing? Do you need a new network that needs to be indexed? Are you an analyst? Do you need to create a dashboard, right? Are you a marketer that's in need of blockchain insights and analytics, right? Or are you an enterprise that's actually, trying to start utilizing and leveraging blockchain technology? So there's a lot of reasons why you would come to Space and Time, right? Now, our kind of answer to this and how we plan on garnering this community is that, we want to include everybody. And we're doing this through, open channels. On our Discord, we regularly do AMAs discussing product updates. And we're really just trying to cultivate an environment for developers, for open source members to really come to Space and Time and, get their hands dirty. And, in the later part of next year, mid to next year, we'll have a little bit more, accessibility to our product. You can start connecting to APIs. You'll be able to start running our DApp soon enough. But we're really trying to just create an all-inclusive developer community.
Got it. And Spencer, I have a question. Especially you were answering about building the community within kind of the open source mind, right? And if we look at the crypto community, there are a lot of Twitter accounts with a cartoon, profile, but they will do, really in-depth analysis. Because one of the good thing about blockchain is transparency, right? But that also means there's tons of information, tons of smart contract that allows people to kind of build tools on top of it, right? There are tools like Dune Analytic, there's tools like Nansen AI, Watchers, and so on. And for example, the Graph, they kind of tackle both non-technical and technical user, which is important because, for example, if there's a token, right, then it enables non-technical user to kind of learn about, for example, MySQL, because a lot of the people that build on Doom don't actually, do hardcore engineering, but then spend a lot of time, looking on-chain data. So my question to you is, how do you, build awareness for space and time for the non-technical user, and how and do you see that as an important target audience for space and time?
Absolutely. I mean, we really want to target that kind of member, as well as like the more experienced member, right? And as we kind of think about how we're doing that, and I'm not at liberty to talk a whole lot about our depth, but what I will say is we are thinking about how, a non-technical user can visualize blockchain data, index blockchain data, and how it's interacting, with a network, with other protocols, right? And how we're doing this is through, essentially just, innovative and unique UX and UI practices, and that we're applying to our product, right? So we 100% do value that, and we welcome, all developers of all experiences, even if you're not very technical.
Yeah, thanks. I think let's continue to the technical discussion with Nate. We just know you have your own chain, right? So how will space and time extend the smart contract capabilities? Is that so important?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think first, it's important to realize that space and time, although not a blockchain, integrates with multiple blockchains. And so one of the first things that space and time does as a value add to the industry is that it captures an accurate relational queryable copy of the blockchain for various chains. And this allows users to easily generate insights around blockchain data. So, for example, like today, a smart contract, for example, it's not even capable of asking, simple questions like, show me all the wallets that have made at least 10 transactions across, 3 major blockchains. In as Spencer talked about it, an application where you're able to log into space and time and you're able to look at, queryable, accurate, relationable copies of, for example, Avalanche and Polygon and Sui and Ethereum and Binance, right, is really important, because now you can start to interact with multiple blockchains in a single environment and be able to do analytics and be able to build applications across those blockchains. And to your point as well, the ability to interact with the smart contracts for the blockchains are really important. One of our critical partners that we've partnered with is Chainlink. And you think about, the ability for oracles, Chainlink oracles specifically, to be able to connect smart contracts to databases is something that's really important to us. Now, today, all those databases and all the data features sit in centralized environments, right, that can't be trusted. But if you think about space and time as a decentralized data warehouse, now these oracles from Chainlink can directly connect to smart contracts, and the extendability of a smart contract now extends to anything a data warehouse can do at scale. So if you need terabytes and petabytes of data, if you need to be able to run complex queries and joins, not only, between your customer base blockchain data and off-chain data, but also between chains, this becomes a really powerful tool that space and time enables. So the use case adoption and the new use cases that we generate for blockchains are going to greatly increase, because now anything that you can do in a data warehouse, which powers a vast majority of the business process in the world, now can be done in a trustless, tamper-proof way on the blockchain. And I'll give you an example of this. So, as we go to market, think about it as being able to, actually query space and time as a decentralized data warehouse from a smart contract. And it's able to bring data back to that smart contract to be able to answer questions, but also settle contracts within the smart contract.
Yeah, so except for Chainlink, I think you recently partnership with Microsoft and NVIDIA. So what kind of support will they provide to space and time?
Yeah. So we're grateful for the partnership with Microsoft. They've been a wonderful partner for us. So Microsoft is obviously really interested in enabling enterprise adoption for blockchain data across the industry. And as you have all these customers with Microsoft that want to start interacting with blockchain data, these Web 2 companies have spent a tremendous amount of money building their data infrastructure, building their data architectures. And now they need to take all the blockchain data and start to combine that with their data architectures that they have. And so if you think about space and time as a bridge between the Web 2 decentralized blockchain world and the Web 3 blockchain world and the actual centralized Web 2 world, space and time sits in the middle as this bridge. And so being able to go to customers that have blockchain and data needs and to be able to service those through a decentralized data warehouse that can directly connect data to smart contracts is a very powerful thing for Microsoft customers and for anybody that has, a Web 2 data architecture all over the world. And we're also doing really unique and creative computation and innovation around compute of the actual database with Microsoft and with NVIDIA. And so as we, build the next generation data warehouse, the capabilities around the actual computation of the actual data between Microsoft, NVIDIA, and space and time is a large engineering effort. And so we're working with both of them to determine how best to accelerate large-scale analytics with memory and with larger compute clusters.
Yes. Let me explain my understanding of your project. It seems you are highly integrated environment for developer, especially enterprise developer, to build analytics, anything related to Web3 and decentralized technology in an all-in-one environment. So what sort of use case will space and time platform enable? Yeah,
no, it's a great question. And I do want to just hit on that real fast because of the Microsoft and NVIDIA partnerships, I think there is a tremendous amount of focus around the enterprise Web 2 adoption of blockchain data. However, the very straightforward use case that we see every day, and as we start to roll out the product here, in the coming weeks and months, and customers start using space and time, the vast majority of our customers are Web3 native applications and Web3 native projects. And the reason that the vast majority of initial customers are all going to be in the Web3 space is they all have data needs. And today, unfortunately, without space and time, they have no ability to do decentralized data computation, and they have no ability to take those large computations that they do in Snowflake, for example, and Databricks, and actually connect them directly to smart contracts. So today, because space and time didn't exist previously, they have been taking all that data on-chain, they move it to a centralized data warehouse like a Snowflake or a Databricks, and they do all this computation off-chain, and then they try to put some data back on-chain. And by taking all that data off-chain and doing it in a centralized location, you basically have these quote-unquote decentralized applications that all of their architecture, all of their databases are actually centralized, which obviously are tamperable, can be highly manipulated, and defeats the whole purpose of what we're trying to accomplish as a community and as an industry. So I do know there's a tremendous amount of attention and excitement around Web 2 enterprise data use cases, but the vast majority is just ensuring that a decentralized application is able to truly run on decentralized databases. But to answer your question specifically, if you think about gaming, right? So Spencer talked a little bit about gaming. An example of this could be where spectators, for example, can stake on, players or teams, right? You think about, you have transactions that are being stored on the blockchain, right? And you want to start facilitating payouts with smart contracts, but also there's a tremendous amount of, in-game events and in-game telemetry data that sits off-chain, the ability to determine if cheating occurs, the ability to be able to determine, who staked on the various types of teams or players, and to be able to generate rewards for that, is actually a complex data problem. So that would be an example, for example, around gaming.
Awesome. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me? I feel like
Yeah,
I can hear you.
All right, cool. I saw it drop. All right. I wanted to ask a bit, I guess, less technical, but more specific to the audience. Obviously we're in a crypto community, so is space and time going to have a token, and is it going to be a single token model or dual token model? So yeah, we'll love to learn a bit more about its tokenomic and its utility.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the intent is that we want to run a decentralized data warehousing network, and in order to run a decentralized data warehousing network, you have to have node operators that are incentivized to properly manage and process the actual analytics in the network, and those incentives. Our intent is that those incentives should be in the forms of tokens, and that's what we're building towards, and that's what we want to achieve over a period of time. I think, we're a U.S. based company. Everyone is acutely aware of what's happened this year within some of the larger crypto projects. I want to draw a contrast here, though, because I think a lot of people get confused with Web3 and crypto technology, and, for example, crypto exchanges that are centralized and can be manipulated and tampered with. The technology that we're building, we believe is incredibly valuable for the future, and we're seeing mass adoption and user adoption across enterprises and across, of course, Web3 projects. And so, we do, want to participate in a tokenomic model. We haven't defined what those tokenomics would be. Obviously, we would need to work through, an overall model. And so nothing is planned. There's not a date for a token release. But the intent is to operate a truly decentralized network. And so, we're going through the proper planning process to determine how best we could do that in the United States.
Understand. And I'm just curious because, we talk a bit about, rewarding and incentivizing these indexer curator that. So would the design kind of be similar to GRT, or do you see some shortfall of their design and that you would like to improve upon?
Yeah, we don't. I think there's a lot of things that could be similar to it. If I just take a step back, and we just look at, for example, windmills and oil rigs, and you think about the utility of a windmill or an oil rig. To me, there's no reason why a server or a cluster of servers can't operate the same way, and that people can't participate in that, in a sense, investment or participation in that server network. I mean, just think about if Amazon were to come out tomorrow and say, hey, we're only going to have, a set amount, in a sense, of servers, and you don't have to own the whole data center, and you don't actually even have to own all the servers, but you can participate in the server network, and as data is being processed on Amazon servers, then there are incentives to be had as participating in the network. I think that's a really powerful concept. We're used to it in today's world with oil rigs. We're used to it with windmills. We're even used to it with Airbnb now, right? You have a house, you put it on the market, and you can rent that out to other people, and you can make money, or there's a utility with that property. The concept around a server in a cluster of servers is something that I think, we're still, as an industry, trying to get our arms around, but it's somewhere where we want to drive the industry, and it's somewhere where we ultimately want the industry to end up, because we believe that that's better holistically for the community, and it also truly drives decentralization and ownership of the servers as well. So I think there's parts of, for example, the graph that makes sense, and there's other things that we probably want to innovate on.
Okay, and obviously for centralized entities such as Snowflake, Microsoft Azure, AWS, they have their way of monetization. But how would the business model be like for space and time with the token, and how do you monetize it?
Yeah. So to us, it's a very simple model, right? That, a user pays for, and pays is a general term. It doesn't mean US dollars. But a user pays for queries that they submit, right? Queries that are being run, usage of the actual system, and runtime hours or runtime of the actual servers. And so larger users or enterprises could consume, whole servers and whole clusters. You could have, smaller users or a single user. We talked a little bit about doing analytics earlier, but, somebody that wants to go to space and time and run queries and learn more and do some visualizations, obviously, there's room for everyone to participate in a pay-as-you-go type of a model. And so we see our model very similar to that from a revenue perspective. The good news is, if you look across the industry, both enterprise companies in Web 2, but also Web 3 projects, they all have to pay for the services that they're using with a cloud service provider or with a data warehouse provider that's centralized. You can't necessarily call up, for example, Oracle and say, hey, I want to use your services, but I'm going to, pay you in a token, or I'm not going to pay at all, right? You're going to have to pay for that service. And so our customers are very aware of the paying of the services. And so the revenue model is pretty standard and pretty straightforward, which actually, drives a lot of excitement with, our investors as well as the overall market, because it's a very clear revenue model, and a very clear use case for the industry to truly understand.
Got it. Understood. I definitely think there's still a lot of obstacle when it comes to kind of differentiating between kind of the centralized business model and decentralized, especially when there's a token. My next question is to Spencer. Obviously, in November, with all the things that's happening with FTX, with the crypto industry, what do you think, and how do you think that crypto will recover the trust after the recent implosion with FTX and other companies?
Yeah, that's a difficult question, right? I think overall it's pretty unfortunate that FTX left a black eye for all of us across the whole industry. Now how brands and projects and protocols begin to kind of like build this trust back up is, well, and let me back up. I think, the silver lining, right, is that a lot of these projects are getting weeded out. And, we're starting to see the rise of the legitimate projects and, legitimate leadership, and legitimate, kind of tokenomics, as we were just describing. Right. So how we begin to kind of work towards that, the short answer is just head down, build, keep doing what we're doing. Right. Because I know what we're doing over here at Space and Time is legitimate. We're putting a lot of our resources and our heads together to make this product happen right now. You look across, not only the crypto industry, but a lot of, almost every industry, there's bad actors, there's malicious actors. And I think the crux of Web3 is to kind of fix this, right? So it's definitely, it hurts when, one of the leading names in crypto, kind of falls the way it did. I mean, I definitely spent a lot of time mulling over it, and it's been a long down market, right? But the bright side is that we are going to come out strong on the other side, right? And projects like, we believe we are going to come out even stronger and have more legitimate resources to lean on, right? We're thankful that, we were not involved in FTX at all. So really grateful that, we can move on from that. But I think how we get through this is the projects need to, all of us crypto projects need to come together. This is not a winner take all market, right? And we need to treat it as such. And I think that's one of the best things about Web3 and blockchain is in the first place is that everybody is so inviting. We all want to win together. And so everybody wants to partner, and we all want to work together towards the same goal. And that's, blockchain mass adoption. So short answer is, keep our heads, forward, tunnel vision on the goal, and, keep building.
And there's the space-time NFT to kind of reward the community. Can you tell us more about this NFT? Is it just a gift, or is there going to be further utility for them?
Yeah, so the NFT is just strictly, our creative output to the community and rewarding for, a lot of our early community members supporting Space and Time, interacting with Space and Time. There's no utility with these NFTs. This is strictly art that we really enjoyed making with the creator Omar Quill. You can find his tag somewhere on my Twitter. I'm happy to, push it forward. You can also see it on our website somewhere, but these NFTs are strictly as a gift. They hold no utility, for Space and Time at all. And just really wanted to, give thanks to early supporters and make sure that, they were, being noticed.
Awesome. And if you're listening to this space, you have a chance to win one of these awesome NFT. And then this space will also be edited and uploaded to our YouTube and Spotify and Google Podcasts. So make sure to follow Space and Time on Twitter. And then if you have any question, you can always comment or raise your hand later. I have a few more questions. So Nate, what do you think is kind of the biggest hurdle and that kind of for crypto going forward right now? Especially, you mentioned a lot about Web2 enterprise will be using your service and kind of have a better tool to integrate into Web3. What do you think with all these tools that we're seeing, crypto still fails to see a mass adoption product?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail right on the head, right? There's a lot of focus on gaming right now, I think, for that reason. Where is the next billion users coming from? Where is the mass adoption of products? We're focused on the next the mass adoption for us is smart contracts. And we're hyper focused on extending smart contracts, and so that we can enable them to do more use cases in insurance, use cases within gaming and financial and traditional finances, fintech, healthcare, retail. The list goes on. And you think about, even settlement systems that sit off chain that could be managed and utilized. There is the whole data infrastructure as well. But, as we advance the overall, progress of the industry, I think, that the adoption of real world use cases that are being done today that can be done better through trustless, automated smart contracts is kind of the new frontier. And so you think about everything that we're building, it's all to extend and expand the capabilities of smart contracts and to be able to take the businesses that are off-chain that want to start interacting with on-chain data and to be able to provide, familiar tools, familiar, for example, SQL that fits into their data architecture so we can advance, the ability to process data at a faster rate and to be able to directly connect them to smart contracts. So, I know a lot of people are focused on the next killer applications. We're focused on enabling the actual data processing of smart contracts at scale to be much more advanced in complexity and to be able to, call on data from space and time, because space and time can hold a lot more data than for example, a smart contract. So, and I think as these, as the use cases advance, to your earlier question to Spencer, I think, the industry overcomes kind of the issues with centralized crypto exchanges that are bad actors, right? And I think, as we advance the overall industry and more use cases come online from more and more reputable companies, and we start to blur the lines of Web 2 data and Web 3 data, and it's just the new data architecture of the future, then it starts to evolve and it starts to heal over time.
Understood. Thank you so much for your answer. And I would like to leave some time for the community to raise their hand to ask questions. So if you have question for Nate and Spencer, please raise your hand, and you will get an NFT, a specially designed NFT, as a reward. And I just like to remind everyone that are listening that cryptocurrency investment is really high risk. So if you don't understand that, please don't touch it, and understand that everything said today is not a financial advice. All right. Thank you so much for your time, Nate and Spencer. And let's open the mic up.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. Happy to answer any questions.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I have one more question. I forgot. For blockchain, how to deal with the privacy and security problem in your tech design? Is it different with Ethereum? As we all know, the Ethereum transactions all public, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. Look, I think there's, blockchain has public information that hides, in a sense, and protects the user credentials around that. The ability to determine the privacy of data that companies or users want to put on space and time is up to the user. So we have, the same level of security and encryption that major banks use within our data warehouse. Although you can, have, very secure and very, the encrypted amount of data within space and time, we also realize that we want to encourage the sharing of data. We want to encourage, data marketplace where people can come and collaborate and share. So, for example, a lot of the gaming companies that we're talking to right now, they're looking to, enable the data as a marketplace for everyone to participate and to see the user data, to be able to interact with the data and the game telemetry data, and be able to have, the ability to interact with their data. So we solve it by having the same types of encryption and security that large banks have in the requirements around their databases and data warehousing. But we enable it by driving an ecosystem and a marketplace that, incents people and encourages people to share the data. So it is very versatile.
Thanks. So anyone have questions? You can raise your hand.
Just a reminder, if you are listening this on YouTube later after it's edited. You can also leave your question in the comment section that we will forward it to the team, and we will get your address so we can send you the NFT.
如果不能用英文问题，可以用中文，然后我们可以翻译。
啊，对，可以用中文，没错。有人要举手吗？
对，可以用中文提问，没问题。
So just checking if anybody want to ask a question in Chinese and we will translate. But if nobody gonna turn in like in a few minutes, we can just wrap it up.
Oh yeah, Nate and Spencer, I have a question. What are your plans? To I guess expand to kind of the Chinese speaking community. It seems like it's huge for Filecoin, IPFS. In China especially,
Nate, you want to chime in, or I can
go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, on our Discord right now, I mean, a large percentage of our community is in the Chinese crypto community. So we've just been really excited and happy to kind of cultivate that environment and culture over here. And so, I mean, whatever we're doing, I would like to continue to do so, because we've got a large community in China, and I've got a lot to thank our community manager, Mike Post, to that as well. We've got we've got a translator in our Discord, and we've got plenty of Chinese speaking resources in our community to kind of bring forth any community questions, and however anyone wants to get involved, we're providing those resources across the board.
Awesome. And I was just talking with Pan that we should do this next year again. We're sure the community will become bigger, and then hopefully by then crypto becomes less with the recent event.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, we'd love to do it again. I'd just say as well, if you're listening and you want to get involved as well, there's a couple of things. Number one is we have a new website that's out, which has a lot of information around space and time and what we're building. We have new docs out, which have more information around use cases and utility and how we're thinking about space and time. We also have a product release that's happening, right now, basically. So if you have a project and you want to start engaging with our team and start using space and time from a database perspective, please reach out to us. You can reach out to us on Twitter. You can reach out to us on Discord, through the website, through email. And as we move into 2023, we're going to look to also spin up the individual users. So individual users, as we get into mid 2023, individual users can start jumping on the system as well, like you talked about, because we want to make sure that it's not just for large enterprises, but really anyone can run analytics there as well. So, but if you do have a project or a company and you want to get involved, we'd love to have you join early, and join our controlled release that's launching right now.
And just to build off Nate right there, if you are trying to get a hold of us, please join our Discord. That's the best way to do so. And we've got a great community rolling there, so we'd love to have you.
Awesome. All right.
I saw Bempo.nft. Do you have any questions?
对，我有个问题，我能用中文问吗？
对，可以，没问题。
可以的，对，就是问一个比较小白的一个问题啊，就是这个数据中心的话，它是不是跟那个Chainlink 有点类似啊？
我应该怎么回答这个问题？
对，我不太了解这个数据中心，因为数据的话，本身在区块链上面，它是一个很重的一个部分嘛。那数据中心的话，这个概念我不是特别理解，还是说就是说数据还是存在链下的，只是说用类似于 Chainlink 那一套机制。
我根据刚刚其实有提到过一些，就是他们和 Chainlink 是合作的关系，对，然后这个他们会把一些这个数据放在他们的这个链，我不知道算是链上链下，对，对
，OK， 行，好，
对，我不知道 Chris 有没有补充啊？这个还是说我们问这个 Nate 和
Spencer？Yeah， 我们可以问他。Yeah, Nate. So one of the audience question is, how are you different from Chainlink?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So one of the things that the biggest thing is we're a database, right? And it's a data warehouse. So it processes transaction and analytics in our data warehouse in the actual database. So we hold data there, we process the data, and then the important thing is in order for us to connect, for example, to a smart contract, being able to have the partnership with Chainlink is really important because having the decentralized Oracle network is critical to speak to smart contracts. So I think that's probably where obviously we're differentiated from Chainlink, and it's a really good combination if you think about it, because you have smart contracts, you have the decentralized Oracle network, which reaches out and talks to various types of databases. Space and Time is, in a sense, one of those databases. It just happens to be a decentralized database with really novel cryptographic guarantees around proof of SQL and proof of storage. So the difference is we're a database.
我简单翻译一下，帮 Bampo， 就 Chainlink 只是提供一个 Oracle， 对吧？就是预言机。但是这个 Space and Time 这块的话，它主要是提供一个数据库的这样的一个设施。那具体存什么数据呢？可以 Chainlink 这边来，对吧？但也有别的地方，它本质上是提供了一个数据库这样的一套的解决方案。对，你怎么理解？
所以我理解就是说，它这个 database 它是一个链下的这个 database 是吗？
没有，它是一个去中心化的数据库。对，它是通过去中心化的一些方案来实现的这个数据库。
OK， 行，好的。
好，谢谢这位朋友。好的 ，Unicorn。
像我们那个就是传统的这种 centralized 的这 database， 像我们常用的有这种AWS 的 RDS 是吧？我们自己只去做 MySQL 啊，当然大数据也有 Hadoop 这些，所以说它更是像这种 MySQL 这种结构化的一个数据库嘛。另外就是我们用中心化这种 MySQL 类似的结构化数据库的时候，面对大数据的时候，我们需要就是做这种 partition 啊。另外可能需要做分布式，所以说这里它是更像这种去中心化的分布式数据库，是吗？
I'll give you an example of something that to think about it this way. If you get price feeds from say 7 or 8 different providers, you can draw consensus through decentralized oracles on those price feeds, and you can come to consensus on, for example, the price of Bitcoin or the price of Ethereum. If you translate that to an actual database in an analytic job, in order to determine whether an analytic is accurate and to ensure that it's not tampered with or manipulated, you either run it in a decentralized data warehouse like Space and Time, with our patented technology, Proof of SQL, which has cryptographic guarantees of when a query is actually running, that it's accurate. Or in a sense, if you take the price feed method, you would run an analytic, in a sense, 10 times, 12 times, but then you don't want to necessarily run it from a single provider. You want to run it from multiple providers. and it becomes impossible to run an analytic job, multiple 10 to 12 times in different databases all over the world to have those analytic results delivered in a sense to a decentralized Oracle network to come to consensus on what the actual analytic output or result of that query should be. Now, because space and time is a decentralized data warehouse, and because space and time has cryptographic guarantees, we only have to run the analytic job once. However, we still need to be able to connect that analytic result through a decentralized Oracle network like Chainlink to an actual smart contract, because we don't directly necessarily connect to a smart contract. We have to use an Oracle, which is why the partnership with Chainlink is so valuable and so important to us.
Yeah, thanks, Nate, for explaining.
It's a much more detailed response, but I hope it helps.
Yeah， 不过刚刚这个 Unicorn Lab 这个我朋友问的问题，他没有解答这个问题，我感觉他是在回答那个刚刚 Chainlink 相关的那个里面那个问题。但是你的这个问题，其实我其实也不知道怎么翻译，说实话。
OK， 因为像这种结构化的数据库，像中心化的，其实我们去做一些分布式的时候，我们需要去做分库啊、分表，或者是这种 partition 不同的维度去做这个事儿。但这种中心化数据库 MySQL 它自身数据量是有限的如果数据量非常多的话，那就是你作为一个基础设施，作为一个去中心化的，所以说这里面是怎么去做的呢？也是提供，就是很多的这种 MySQL 可能有这种服务提供商，类似于这种去中心化的 provider 类似的吗？
你说的这个 partition 还有一些什么因素在里面？你刚刚说到的那几个词。
就是 MySQL 它跟我们比如说这种我们 Web2 一些比如说大的公司，它都有海量数据，这个海量数据一般也是用 MySQL 去做的。就是这里面去中心化的，它比如说 MySQL 这种，它跟这个 MySQL 有什么区别？就是
OK，
这种
我来问一下啊，好的。Hey Nate, Unicorn Lab just asked, is space and time more like MySQL? Is how to deal with the partition or other things in within space and time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So you think about MySQL. That the difference between, for example, MySQL and space and time is space and time is a single cluster data warehouse that does both analytic transactions and transactional processing as well. So the ability to do both, online transactional processing and analytic processing in the same environment is pretty powerful. So you think about traditionally, you have to either do your analytics processing in a database, like for example, like you're talking about, right? Snowflake, Databricks, MySQL, etc. And then you have your online transactional processing, think about PostgreSQL or an Oracle transactional database, etc. Space and time does both in a single cluster, which is really innovative, right? So you have this hybrid transaction and analytic processing that occurs in a single cluster. So you can think about it as space and time can replace and do the MySQL jobs, where you don't have to use MySQL in a centralized format anymore. But MySQL can't do everything that space and time does, because space and time does both transaction and analytics, and it does it at a scale and a decentralization that MySQL could never do. So if you're running, for example, MySQL, and you have, processing of jobs in MySQL, obviously space and time takes on that workload, but it has many more capabilities and functionality in addition to just MySQL.
Thanks. Hi, Chris. I think that's pretty much for today.
Yes. Okay. Thank you guys again for participating today's space. And, thank you, Nate and Spencer from Space and Time. We learned a lot. This space will be edited and uploaded as a video with subtitles on YouTube. Thank you guys for your time and have a good day.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Their Twitter and join the Discord for more developer community information. Yeah, and thanks, Nate and Spencer, for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having us. That was a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, bye. Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers all. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
然后，如果你今天在 YouTube 上看的话，请帮我订阅，然后把小铃铛点开，你就不会错过下一集。如果你觉得今天的直播你有学到新的东西，也帮我把影片给分享出去。区块现在的每日直播是每周一、每周三、每周五呢都会讲最新的区块链新闻，然后各种加密货币跟去中心化金融 DeFi。我们明天见，拜拜。